I never used my attic. It wasn't even that it was creepy, it was just impractical. Small entrance hatch, no ladder, and no real reason to go up there. I live alone in a modest two-bedroom house in a quiet part of town. I've been here for about 2 years, and nothing strange ever really happened until last winter. It started subtly. Things went missing. I'm not the most organized person, but even I noticed when a box of protein bars I had just bought disappeared completely. I figured maybe I left them in the car or accidentally tossed them when cleaning the kitchen. Then my phone charger vanished, and I found it 3 days later plugged into the wall in the guest room, a room I hadn't stepped into in weeks. Still, I brushed it off. We all misplace things. The first night I truly felt fear was a Thursday. I had gotten off work late, around 11 p.m., and when I came home, I noticed the bathroom light was on. I always turn off lights before leaving. Always. I stood there in the hallway, keys still in my hand, staring at that thin strip of light under the door. My first instinct was that someone had broken in. I grabbed a crowbar from the garage and slowly walked through the house. Room by room. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. No strange sounds. Just silence and the gentle hum of the heater. I convinced myself I had left the light on. But I locked my bedroom door that night, which I never did before. About a week later, I woke up at 3 a.m. to the distinct sound of something moving above me, directly above me. The attic. It wasn't loud. It wasn't like someone stomping or crawling. It was more like a single shuffle, like the sound of a boot pivoting on wood. I sat up in bed, heart pounding, and listened. Nothing. Just silence again. I stayed frozen for maybe 10 minutes before convincing myself it was just the wind or the wood settling. Still, I couldn't go back to sleep. The next day, I borrowed a ladder from my neighbor and decided to check the attic. The hatch is in the hallway ceiling, a simple square panel. I climbed up, flashlight in hand, expecting to find nothing but dust and insulation. But the moment I stuck my head up, I knew something was wrong. There were things up there, not insulation, not store boxes, things that weren't mine. A rolled-up sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, granola bars, chips, water bottles, a small backpack, a flashlight, a half-burnt candle in a jar. There was a literal pile of trash tucked behind one of the support beams. Someone had been living up there. I climbed down fast and called the police. They came, did a full sweep of the house and attic, but by then, whoever had been there was long gone. The officers were polite, but clearly skeptical. They took the items as evidence, told me to call if I noticed anything else strange, and left. For a while, I thought that was it. Maybe a homeless person snuck in during renovations months ago and had been hiding up there. Maybe they left for good now. But then the smell started. It was faint at first, like damp laundry or spoiled food. I scrubbed the fridge, took out the trash daily, cleaned the drains. The smell persisted. It was strongest in the hallway, right below the attic hatch. Then came the sounds again. Soft creaks in the ceiling at night. A cough once. I swear I heard a muffled cough. I called the cops again. This time, they took it seriously. A full search. They even brought a canine unit. Nothing. Whoever had been up there was gone, or very, very good at hiding. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my living room with a baseball bat in hand. Every light in the house turned on. At around 2:30 a.m., the hallway light turned off. I swear to God. I stood up slowly. It wasn't a flicker. It didn't burn out. It clicked off like someone hit the switch. But I was alone. At least I thought I was. I walked into the hallway, trembling, and looked up at the attic hatch. Nothing unusual. But I noticed something that made my stomach twist. Scratches. Scratches around the edges of the panel, as if it had been opened and closed again and again. I stood there staring at it for what felt like an hour. I was too afraid to call anyone, too afraid to even move. Then I heard it, breathing. Soft, steady breathing coming from just above me. I don't remember much after that. I woke up on the floor the next morning, disoriented and scared. The attic hatch was open just slightly, maybe an inch or two, like someone had peeked out, like someone had watched me pass out. I moved out that day, left 90% of my things behind, stayed with a friend for a month, and never went back alone. A week after I moved out, the landlord called me. He said the new tenant had been hearing things. Found food missing, lights turning off. They checked the attic. No one was there, but the sleeping bag was back.